Well, I decided it was finally time to make myself a Pee-wee bike. But here's the thing, I've been thinking about this for a while, and an exact replica, it would be expensive, it would be time consuming, and honestly, if I had the perfect replica, I probably wouldn't ever want to ride it. I'd just be too worried about it getting stolen or scratched or damaged or whatever. So instead, I decided to make a tribute bike. It's something that captures the essence of Pee-wee's bike, but is a lot cheaper, easier, and quicker to build. That way, I can actually ride it instead of just putting it on display. So that's what we're making here today. Let's get started. So I found this Schwinn on Amazon, and it's great because it already gets me like 60% of the way there. It's got the red color, the white wall tires, that classic bike Schwinn design, and it has a rear carrier rack. So it's the perfect starting point. So I'll have a link to that bike in the description. You could just pick it up off Amazon. So I ordered that myself, put it together, and got everything adjusted for me. Now, to really get that Pee-wee look, I needed to make some custom pieces. So I used my laser cutter for this, and I uploaded photos of the bike so that I could trace the exact shapes for a perfect fit. And this worked out really great. Made it really easy to get these exact shapes that fit in there. And then I actually started laser cutting with cardboard mock-ups just to test everything and make any final adjustments that I needed, but it really came together pretty quickly. And then once I was happy with the fit, I cut the final pieces out of acrylic. And by the way, if you don't have a laser cutter, I have all these parts available as a kit on my Etsy store. So that really makes this build super easy. Once you order the bike and the kit and some of these extra accessories from Amazon, you really could finish this whole thing in like less than a day. So I'll have a link to that kit on Etsy in the description for you. And I also decided to offer fully complete, done-for-you bikes available too. So I'll have the link in the description for that as well, if you want to just buy one and not have to build it. So now let's get to the fun stuff, installing all of these custom acrylic pieces. So I designed the back fin to slot into a clear acrylic base. You could glue this in if you wanted to, but I decided not to, since it's kind of easy to bump and hit the fin. When you do that, it just pops out now without it being glued in, and then you could just kind of pop it back in. If it were glued, I think there's a pretty good chance that you would crack the acrylic and then maybe ruin the piece. So it works pretty well not gluing it in, and it holds in fine when you're riding and everything like that. And then the whole thing attaches using an existing hole in the frame, and it's secured with a nut, a screw, and then a red Velcro strip, or you can use a zip tie too. Now for the front wheel spirals. I cut these from red acrylic, and then I used my vinyl cutter to make a white sticker of that spiral shape and applied that right on top. And then I just used an X-Acto knife to cut away any of the extra sticker material. And to install it, I did have to remove the front wheel, and then the spiral kind of sits on the wheel as you kind of install it, and it actually sits in between the wheel and the fork on the inside. And then there is a small existing hole on the front fork, so I utilized that, where you can just stick a zip tie through there and through a mounting point on the red acrylic piece and kind of secure it all in there. And yeah, it just kind of fits great. And there's plenty of clearance, but definitely make sure you check for that to make sure it's not getting caught up in your front wheel when it's spinning. And now the white center panel just slides right in between the crossbars, and it secures with red zip ties from various mounting points that I have on there. I initially used Velcro because I thought it would be easy to remove it for when I wanted to put this on my bike rack, but I just didn't like the Velcro look. I thought it kind of stood out too much. The red small zip ties were just kind of a cleaner look. And if I ever want to remove this to put it on my bike rack, I could just snip them off and then replace them. And then to match Pee-wee's bike, I also laser cut this metallic acrylic panel piece and attached it to the white center panel using plastic weld. This is a really strong adhesive for acrylic because it literally melts the plastic. It's awesome. Other adhesives would probably work for this too, but use whatever you'd like. Then I moved on to the rear wheel covers. I designed some attachment points on these as well, where you can just secure them with zip ties right onto the frame of the bike. So those are pretty easy to get on there and really give you that nice Pee-wee look too. And yeah, at this point, the bike is really starting to come to life. It's looking very Pee-wee-esque. All that we have to do is kind of add those finishing touches of the accessories and that kind of stuff. And I do have all the links for these accessories in the description too, so you can just pick these up yourself. So first I grabbed a set of bike streamers on Amazon. I found this perfect set that was kind of vintagey retro and really matched pretty closely to what Pee-wee actually has. But I did have to drill out my grips a little bit to get these to fit in there. But after some finagling, I was able to kind of pull them in there from the inside using needle nose pliers, and they went in perfectly. Then I found this retro style headlamp on Amazon, which was perfect. And I wanted to add that red fin to the top of it, just like Pee-wee's bike has. So this headlamp actually comes with an on and off switch that's right on top, which was like the perfect attachment point. So I just drilled a hole through that, and then I secured this red acrylic fin to that just with a bolt and a nut, and then mounted the entire headlamp right onto the bike. Then it was time for the rear view mirrors. I found the perfect set on Amazon in chrome, exact shape. These are awesome. Just install those according to the instructions and get them adjusted, and it matches the look perfectly. And now Pee-wee's bike, it has that iconic, classic, that tiger head siren right on the front, but they're really super rare. They're hard to find, and they're pricey if you do find one. They're usually probably $300, $400, $500. So I don't know. I might upgrade later, but for now, I went with this $10 squeeze horn from Amazon, which I think is a solid budget alternative. It's remarkably close for what it is. Like, it's similar color, a tiger head, so it works for $10, $15. And if you do want a more authentic tiger siren, check out Big Adventure Bikes on Instagram. He makes really incredible replicas, like spot on replicas, and he does have these tiger sirens that you can purchase. So I might upgrade to that later. And for one final touch, have to have the property of Pee-wee Herman sign. So I laser cut and installed this to the back of the bike seat just using zip ties. And that's it. My Pee-wee tribute bike is complete. And I really love how this turned out. I think it really does capture the spirit of Pee-wee's bike. And it's something that I can actually ride and that I can enjoy without worrying about damaging like a fragile showpiece. This is something I can actually have fun with. And if something breaks, I can pretty easily repair it. If it's stolen, God forbid, it's not crazy. I could, make another one in less than a day. And it's fun to ride. You get a lot of looks and people yelling at you when you ride this thing. I don't think most people even notice what's different about the original bike versus this one. It's just fun. So let me know what you think. Are there any ideas for improvements, things I could change, stuff like that? And then if you do want to build your own Pee-wee bike, I've got all the links in the description, including the base bike, the accessories, and my kit on Etsy with all the laser cut parts for you to use. And I really think this is the most cost-effective way to get your own Pee-wee bike without breaking the bank. And you could literally put this thing together in less than a day. So that's it. Thanks for watching, and tell them Large Marge sent you.